difficult time to teach and to get students engaged in whatever is right after lunch. So, we are going to do a quick activity that actually will have a lot of points to it, and we'll agree to that later as we do it. I want you to look around the room right now, and if you can include anyone that's in the room. I want you to find somebody that you don't know. Let me see Tim and Brandon. Would you please be my example? Okay. Even if you do know Brandon, okay. So Brandon is going to be letter A, and Tim is going to be letter B. This is what I want you to do. I want you to find somebody in the room that you don't know very well. That shouldn't be that hard. And it can include Dr. West, it can include Sandra, it can include Dr. Browning, whatever. Because you're each going to need a partner, all right? When you get the partner, I will give you further directions. Go. Okay, go. Don't talk. Just find them, okay? Shake hands, look at each other, no talking. I will give you the rest of the directions. You need to be standing as well. Raise your hand if you do not have a partner. Okay, good. Up here. Okay. Okay. Raise your hand if you do not have a partner. Okay, now, I assigned letter A, letter B to Brandon and Tim. You decide between the two of you who's going to raise your hand if you're going to be letter A. Okay? Letter B, okay? Directions. Letter B, you are the listener. And in listening, you listen. Okay, that means you don't make any sounds. That means you listen. And if you just can't possibly control it, you can say, mm-hmm. Got it? That's it. That's it. You are not, you're just totally listening. Letter A, you are going to say your full name to your partner. Say how you felt about that name all these years, and what you'd like your friends to call you. Full name, how you felt about the name, what you want your friends to call you. Go.
My name is Ashley. The name Kimberly. I think it's very and I've always seen it as kind of preppy and snobby. I went to a very passionate, like Westlake the Kimmies and the Kimbies were those people, and still I didn't consider myself one of those. So I prefer Kim.
Okay, stop. Okay, letter B. You look right at your partner, and I want you to repeat back, word for word, what they just told you. Go. Okay, stop. Now, letter B. It is your turn to state your full name, how you felt about your name, and what you'd like your friends to call you. And letter A, you are the listeners. Remember, you may not say anything unless it's mm-hmm. Go.
I like my name. I don't So reina, slash, queen. My family calls me Kathy. I grew up with Kathy. But then I guess I was.
Okay, stop. Now you think I'm going to say, okay, you have to repeat it back, right? I'm not going to do that. Because you've already gotten the lesson. I'll bet you have never listened more carefully in your life. Right? Yes.
Capital
Okay.
queen.
Because you're like, oh my gosh, I'm going to be held accountable for this, right? So what have we learned from this?
They only, or kids will only, like, yes, I was like, oh my gosh, like, I'm looking at her lips, making sure I hear her, what she says. But only after I knew, or thought, that I was gonna be repeating it like she had to.
Okay. So you listened deeply. How deeply do you need to listen to your children? Tanya?
I wanted to interrupt him so many times and ask him questions about what he was saying. And I probably do that whenever I talk to y'all, so I'm sorry. Probably interrupt y'all.
Okay, so when
It's
you're
hard.
listening, is it okay to ask questions after they are finished talking? Absolutely, that's part of the feedback.
Well, I wanted to, but I just said I couldn't talk.
Well, because,
I didn't know like I could start talking after she was done.
well, in real life, people don't say you can't talk. Anyway, but, so think about this, yes, Craig?
I would say like the first scenario was like a gotcha, and you know the second one, if your students know your expectations, then they know what to do instead of like caught guard.
Right. So it was a technique for me to get your attention and to teach you something. Yeah. What else? Yes, ma'am.
I
Pamela?
like how they have us write our teacher questions down, because when you interrupt them, the reason I interrupt is because I don't want to forget that I wanted to ask you something about that. But then you end up missing part of the information because you're disrupting their flow. Anyway, yeah, so write it down.
So write it down. Oh, so in terms of when feedback is the #1 teaching strategy that enhances learning, #1, is listening feedback. Deep listening is the most important part of a relationship. Because when you listen, you build trust. And like Pamela said, it's really hard. I want to interrupt too. I do like Tanya, and I worked really hard trying to not do that, but I get excited and whatever. It does. It interrupts, it stops their thinking, and it's disrespectful. Because it means you're more important than they are. Yes, ma'am.
One thing with my students at different levels, I always try to be as honest. And one of the things I do, if I'm in the middle of a really important email and it's independent time, they come, Ms. Davidson, I need this, and instead of going, I'll stop, I'll look in the eye and say, I cannot give you my full attention right now. Stand here and look at your watch, 30 seconds, interrupt me again. I have to get this done. And they'll stand there and they'll wait, and then I'll finish, type whatever I'm doing. I'm like, okay, now go.
It's perfectly okay. Dr. West will even say, can't do it yet. And then, so you just know, and you wait, and you just wait, and then she'll get to you, okay? That's perfectly fine. It's perfectly fine. What else did you get from this? Like what else would you apply?
I had a problem. I did the main gist of what she told me, but since there were other people talking, the distance was like this, listening, and I'm a mouth watcher many times. Had some people, are you deaf, reading my lips? Or, no, this is how I pay attention to you.
Okay.
And I couldn't do that, but I got pretty much everything. It's just bugs me that, sometimes, if a person's talking to you and they turn, then I start missing out things, because for me,
So it's hard to
my
listen,
attention.
right? And then that study that Dr. West passed out about the ambient noise and the distractions, for me, that is not distracting. Like we were talking about writing, when I have to compose and write something, then I can put on classical music and I can zone right then. If I have any music with words to it, it doesn't matter whether it's classical or whatever, I'm singing along and then I'm not writing.
Or I'm running the song.
There you go. So anyway, but that speaks to, Toby needs no ambient noise. Some of your kids will need that, some won't. The article ends with, you look at what you've got and then you make professional decisions about the environment you've got your kids in to multiply whatever their learning stuff, I don't wanna say style, but what their learning needs are. That's the most important. The one speaking, like your kids, when you're listening, they are doing the work. When they're talking to you, they are doing the work. Your work is listening. Yes, ma'am.
The other thing, like if you're providing feedback in a classroom, it's the strategy of repeating it or asking someone else to repeat it encourages learning.
It does, it does.
Yeah.
It's also an excellent counseling technique in terms of if you're the speaker and you want affirmation that you have been listened to, hearing what you just said clarifies, first of all, that you said it accurately. Second of all, it clarifies that they actually heard you. Okay, so it's a wonderful relationship builder. Yes, sir.
Here's a teaching strategy. I don't know if it was through Mix or some other thing that I've been in, where the teacher gives them like a definition or some information, and they have their turn-to partner, and their partner asks them a question, they repeat it, the answer, and then it goes back and forth several times and then stop, okay? And
Right. Shoulder partners, talk, across the table, face to face, yeah. Yep,
When I
yes.
was hired as an assistant principal, they always told us, when a parent comes in angry, you always repeat what they're telling you, that you declare. So what I'm hearing you say is, and then you say it again so that they understand, yes, I'm listening to you and I just want to make sure that I'm hearing you correctly. And that was always good because sometimes you would repeat exactly what they said and they're like, no, that's not what I meant. And so then they would clarify before you could even put your
Exactly.
stick foot in.
And then you're in a place where, oh, okay, and they feel listened to, and that's huge, especially when people are angry and stuff, so whatever. So, anyway, now, find a spot, you don't have to have stuff other than, do they need their stuff to take notes?
Probably.
Okay, so find your stuff that you're gonna need to take notes and sit beside your new partner. That will happen for the rest of Dr. Browning's time.
They really just need a writing instrument, because I have all the data.
Okay, just a writing instrument. So find a spot. Where you going, Elizabeth, over there?
I will come sit by you, Mary Lou, you just stay where you are.